Rule number 1. Control the center. The center of the board is the most important area in chess, as it allows a player to control more squares on the board and have more mobility for their pieces. By controlling these squares, a player gains more space and more control over the board, making it harder for their opponent to move their pieces effectively. This principle is essential to opening play and should be one of the primary objectives of a player's opening strategy. A player can control the center by occupying it with pawns and pieces, or by controlling it from a distance with their pieces. Rule number 2. Develop your pieces. To control the center and gain a better position, a player needs to develop their pieces as quickly and efficiently as possible. Developing pieces means bringing them out from their starting squares and into the game, so they can start to influence the board. A player should develop their minor pieces, knights and bishops, before their major pieces, queen and rooks, as they are more mobile and can be more effective in the opening. Developing pieces also means coordinating them and placing them on squares where they can support each other and control important areas of the board. This principle is closely related to the first principle of controlling the center, as developing pieces is a key part of gaining control of the center. Rule number 3. Protect your king. The king is the most important piece in chess, and it should be protected at all times. A player should avoid exposing their king to attack and should keep it safe by castling early in the game. This move allows the king to be tucked away safely on one side of the board and the rook to be brought closer to the center, where it can be more effective. A player should also avoid moving their pawns in front of their king, as this can weaken the king's position and make it easier for the opponent to launch an attack. Rule number 4. Create threats. Chess is a game of threats and counter threats. A player should always be on the lookout for ways to create threats and put pressure on their opponent. This can involve attacking the opponent's pieces, creating pawn breaks, or opening up lines of attack on the opponent's king. Creating threats can force the opponent to react defensively, giving the player more control over the game. Threats can also create opportunities for tactics and combinations, which can lead to a decisive advantage or even a checkmate. A player should be careful not to overextend themselves or create weaknesses in their position when creating threats, as this can backfire and give the opponent an advantage. Rule number 5. Keep your pieces coordinated. In chess, each piece has a unique role to play, and it's important to keep them working together towards a common goal. This means coordinating your pieces so that they support each other and work as a team. For example, if you want to launch an attack on your opponent's king, you might coordinate your queen, bishop, and knight to create threats from different angles. On the other hand, leaving a piece stranded or vulnerable can make it an easy target for your opponent to capture. Therefore, it's important to keep your pieces coordinated and avoid leaving them exposed. Rule number 6. Avoid weaknesses. Weaknesses are areas of your position that are vulnerable to attack or exploitation by your opponent. These can include weak pawns, undefended squares, or pieces that are poorly placed. Creating weaknesses in your position can give your opponent an advantage and make it harder for you to defend. Therefore, it's important to avoid creating weaknesses and try to exploit your opponent's weaknesses instead. For example, if your opponent has a weak pawn, you might try to attack it with your pieces or use it as a target for a tactical combination. Rule number 7. Look for tactics. Tactics are short-term combinations of moves that can lead to a tangible advantage, such as capturing a piece or creating a threat. Chess is full of tactical opportunities, and being able to spot them can give you a significant advantage over your opponent. Common tactics include forks, pins, and discovered attacks. Looking for tactics also requires an awareness of the tactical motifs and patterns that can occur on the board. It's important to be vigilant and always on the lookout for tactical opportunities. Rule number 8. Control open files and diagonals. Open files and diagonals are important strategic elements in chess. An open file is a column that is not blocked by pawns, while an open diagonal is a diagonal that is not blocked by pawns. Controlling these can give your pieces more mobility and attacking opportunities, while denying them to your opponent can limit their options. For example, if you control an open file with your rook, you can use it to launch an attack on your opponent's position or to pressure their pawns. Rule number 9. Plan ahead. Chess requires long-term strategic thinking and planning. It's important to anticipate your opponent's moves and have a plan for your own pieces. This means thinking several moves ahead and considering different possibilities and variations. A good plan should be flexible and adaptable to changes in the position, but it should also have a clear objective and a general idea of how to achieve it.